Invocation by Chaplain DeLuca.
In keeping our soldiers in the fight.
Graduate, attending faculty and staff, family, and friends, to today's Interservice Physician Assistant Program graduation for Class 21-1. Today, we are graduating 3 physician assistants who will go on to meet the medical needs of the Army. This ceremony is significant to our graduates because each is graduating as a physician assistant with a master's degree in Physician Assistant Studies from the University of Nebraska Medical Center. Each will have the unique role of being the primary care provider for both our men and women serving in uniform and their families. And each will be commissioned as a first lieutenant in the United States Army. At this time, I would like to introduce the Womack Army Medical Center IPAP Phase 2 Clinical Coordinator, Major Robert Diem.
Good morning, everybody. So I'd like to thank Colonel Zanate, Command Sergeant Major Boulier, Lieutenant Colonel Coker, Command Sergeant Major Hopkins, Lieutenant Colonel Galfin, Ms. Bogue, Ms. King, for their attendance today and for their continued support to this program. Distinguished guests, preceptors, family, and friends, we welcome you to the Interservice Physician Assistance Program Class 21-1's graduation. Our 3 graduates have completed the 56-week clinical portion of their training and will be receiving Masters of Physician Assistant Study degrees from the University of Nebraska Medical Center. Additionally, today our graduates will commission as first lieutenants in the United States Army. Our graduates' accomplishments didn't begin 56 weeks ago. It's taken them years to reach this milestone. IPAP's a 2.5-year-long program, and for many can take 2 to 4 years of prerequisite college courses to gain acceptance. Today's celebration began with an ambition to become medical providers. This ambition may have stemmed from prior life experiences and the inherent desire to help others. From watching PAs perform austere medicine while deployed, or from performing function as a prior medic alongside a PA, or maybe just having a positive outcome as a patient, further exacerbated this desire for our graduates to perform high-quality patient care. This development began years ago from a conversation with a battalion or brigade PA that further evolved as they began completing their prerequisites for IPAP and culminated with acceptance into this program. The personal growth of our graduates didn't stop with just acceptance. It's continued throughout their molding as clinicians and will continue for years following today's graduation. During didactics, our graduates were mentored from their class advisors and senior service representatives. They were educated and prepared by their academia. They were offered opportunity for clarification when needed and guided toward appropriate standards of patient care. They were taught how to properly self-educate to expand their funded knowledge. Preceptors, senior residents, staff attendings further honed these medical acumen and clinical skills while forcing them to expand their differential diagnosis and overall ability to treat patients. These students learned from each other while helping mentor, develop, guide, and support their fellow classmates and cohorts behind. I've watched these clinicians build their medical acumen, broaden their clinical skills, and develop themselves as officers of the United States Army. It's been our absolute privilege guiding these physician assistants through graduation. They've dedicated themselves to academics, their preceptors, the hospital, and most importantly, their patients. They've spent countless hours studying and preparing for their success today. Thank you to all the preceptors and staff for mentoring and educating not only today's graduates, but all of our IPAP students. Without you, the Phase 2 program here at Fort Bragg would not be as successful as it is. As each of you move forward in your medical careers, remember to look back often. There'll be times when you have forgotten the pathways that drove you into medicine or the military leadership that provided the opportunities for your success. Continue to seek mentorship and continue to develop your medical skills and knowledge. Remember that your actions provide motivation for future Army PAs and that your leadership skills and intrinsic personalities will mentor those that come behind you, even when you may not realize it. Mentorship provides a conduit for success, but isn't the only pillar in our graduates' foundation. The support that these graduates received over this journey speaks volumes. I personally like to extend my gratitude to the family and friends present. Without your continued support over these past many years, our graduates wouldn't be here today. The military couldn't function without strong support channels and continued personal sacrifices that you've shown your loved ones. You should be proud of all of their accomplishments. With that, here are some of Class 21-1's statistics while at Womack. They each completed more than 160 hours of the Womack Emergency Medicine Department, in addition to their required clinical rotation. Collectively, they saw 4,306 patients during their rotations. They performed 793 procedures under the direct supervision of their clinical preceptors, and they averaged a combined 93.74% on their rotations and external exams. Please give them a round of applause for all their accomplishments. I look forward to working with all of you in the future as colleagues and friends. Never hesitate to send me an email, text, phone call, or if you ever just want to chat, I'm around. If you ever have any medical questions or need mentorship, I think you guys know where to start looking. Good luck on your future assignments.
Thank you, Major Diem. Please welcome our keynote speaker this morning, Major Promotable Jonathan Haller.
Distinguished guests, family, friends, colleagues, thank you for attending this graduation and commissioning ceremony today. I'm honored to stand before you with the opportunity to speak and celebrate the accomplishments of these three gentlemen. Honestly, I was surprised when they asked me to speak today, given the fact that they've listened to me pontificate for the last 12 months. Perhaps they would really say crush them in academic rigor, or maybe investigate the finer details of research terminology. Nonetheless, I cherish this opportunity to share a few last thoughts. All three of you have put in the time and the effort. You've learned hard lessons. You've read countless books and journal articles, probably more sleepless nights than you want to admit, and I'm confident you'll pass your boards and start your career as independent providers. Hayden, I've observed your excitement to help with the traumas when they're called and the gravity set in afterwards as you analyze outcomes and how to save the next life with every scenario. Alex, your passion for psychology is evident from day one. You understand the soldier is more than their MOS and will fill an invaluable service to continue if you continue to subspecialize. Justin, pretty smart for a former Navy guy, I will admit. No doubt you'll end up running an ICU one day with a twinkle in your eye as you draw cartoon memory aids triggering innate details of physiologic and pharmaceutical pathways. All three of you are intelligent, dedicated, professional. I'd be lying if I told you that you've reached the easy part today. Today you graduate. In the most common interpretation, you've completed your academic degree. Alternatively, you're graduating to another level of experience or proficiency. Your safety net is gone. Your examinations, documentation, decision-making is yours alone, no longer co-signed or shared. You will be the primary care provider for a battalion of soldiers charged with the medical care of our nation's true treasure. Its sons, daughters, husbands, wives, all of who volunteered to serve and put their life on the line in defense of our country. That's a heavy responsibility, but one I have no doubt that you're ready to shoulder. You will still have resources to guide you. You will have colleagues and peers to confer, but the responsibility is yours, and the decisions you make have consequences, good or bad. As you take this next step, I would offer a sentiment from Marcus Aurelius. For those of you not familiar, he was a Roman emperor in the 2nd century, notable for many reasons. He was the last of the adoptive emperors, not being born into power, but selected, mentored. Despite being the most powerful man of his day, he was humble and he was introspective. His journal, which was likely never meant to be shared with anyone, was found years after his death and published as a book entitled Meditations. In his journal, he writes to himself. He's often repetitive, starting phrases with remember, keep in mind, do not forget. Many feel that repetition is the key to adult learning, and you've repeated many things during this education, methodically imprinting key questions, smells, sights, motions. Remember, just as PAs were created as an extension of physicians, combat medics are your extension on the battlefield. Remember to train them and mentor them with the same intensity we trained you, so that your knowledge and your expertise reach as far as possible. Keep in mind, your education does not stop with this degree. This degree is a benchmark. It's a standard. Every day, continue to seek new lessons. Keep in mind, medicine evolves with advancements in research and technology, and you must continue to keep pace. Do not forget, there was a reason you chose this path. Remind yourself that when times are tough, when resources are lacking, when you're far from home for extended periods, do not forget people count on you. Not just during times of excitement, on a drop zone or a point of injury. They count on you when you spend that extra time to connect with a patient or soldier during a seemingly inconsequential periodic health assessment. Perhaps the empathy you show ends up saving their life. I'll leave you with this. Though I hope you never have to step on another battlefield, conflict at some point in your career is possible, if not likely. Continue your professional career as a PA, as an Army officer, with the same tenacity that you tackled your formal education. I'm confident you're prepared. And I'm honored to welcome you as a colleague. Thank you.
On behalf of the students of the Interservice Physician Assistant Program at Womack Army Medical Center, we sincerely thank you for your remarks and support to the program, Major Haller. Major Diem and Major Haller will now present the graduates with their master's degrees in Physician Assistant Studies from the University of Nebraska Medical Center. Officer Candidate Alexander Kramer, please come forward. O.C. Kramer will be assigned to 1st Brigade Combat Team, 82nd Airborne Division, Fort Liberty, North Carolina. Officer Candidate Justin Francis, please come forward. O.C. Francis will be assigned to 2nd Brigade Combat Team, 82nd Airborne Division, Fort Liberty, North Carolina. Officer Candidate Hayden Simonson, please come forward. O.C. Simonson will be assigned to 110th Seaburn Battalion, Joint Base Lewis McChord, Washington. O.C. Simonson will now be recognized for his acceptance into the Pi Alpha Honor Society. Pi Alpha is the National Physician Assistant Honor Society, organized for the promotion and recognition of PA students and graduates. Membership recognizes inductees' significant academic achievements and honors them for their leadership, research, community and professional service, other related activities, and their high standard of character and conduct. In recognition of this achievement, O.C. Simonson is receiving a certificate from the Physician Assistant Education Association, honor cords, a pin, and induction into Pi Alpha. He will now receive an award from the Army. The Army, attention to orders. The Army Commendation Medal is awarded to OC Hayden Simonson for meritorious achievement as a physician assistant student. His exceptional leadership, selfless devotion to the medical profession, and unparalleled dedication to mission accomplishment were instrumental in the overall success of the unit. OC Simonson's performance reflects great credit upon him, Womack Army Medical Center, the United States Army Medical Command, and the United States Army. Signed, Colonel Zanante. Please join me in one more round of applause. Graduates. Please be seated. The graduates will now be commissioned as officers in the United States Army. Officer Candidate Kramer, please come forward. OC Kramer will be pinned by his wife, Lauren, and Aunt April. The commissioning oath will be administered by Chaplain Captain Mark DeLuca.
Raise your right hand. Repeat after me. I state your full name.
I, Alexander Kramer,
Do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will support and defend the Constitution of the United States
that I will support and defend the Constitution of the United States
against all enemies, foreign and domestic.
against all enemies, foreign and domestic,
That I will bear true faith and allegiance to the same.
and I will bear true faith and allegiance to the same,
That I take this obligation freely,
that I take this obligation freely
without any mental reservation or purpose of evasion.
without
Without any mental reservation
any mental reservation
or purpose of evasion.
or purpose of evasion,
And that I will well and faithfully discharge
and that I will well and faithfully discharge
the duties of the office on which I'm about to enter.
on which I'm about to enter.
So help me God.
So help me God.
Congratulations, Lieutenant Kramer.
Thank you.
Under Section 531 and 3064, Title 10 United States Code, Alexander Kramer is appointed to the grade of First Lieutenant in the United States Army. It is tradition when a soldier is commissioned as an officer to render the silver dollar salute. While no one knows for sure where the tradition originated, some suggest that it was passed on from British regiments garrisoned in the U.S. during the colonial era. Newly commissioned British officers were assigned an advisor who mentored them in regimental history, military professionalism, and military tactics. In addition to their base pay, lieutenants were provided a $1 allowance for their enlisted advisor. While this pay was eventually discontinued, the responsibility of mentorship remains. According to the tradition, the silver dollar is the only coin given in exchange for the first salute. However, what it represents is of far greater value. The coin signifies a profound sense of gratitude for the mentorship and lessons imparted by the non-commissioned officer. It is an expression of shared respect, just as all tasks and missions given are shared by both officer and enlisted to be performed together. First Lieutenant Kramer, please render your first salute as a commissioned officer.
Sergeant First Class James Kramer, post.
Officer Candidate Francis, please come forward. O.C. Francis will be pinned by his daughter Vivian and brother Christopher Francis. The commissioning oath will be administered by First Lieutenant Kyle Parson.
Raise your right hand, repeat after me. I state your full name.
I, Justin J. Francis,
Do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will support
that I will support
and defend the Constitution
and defend the Constitution
of the United States
of the United States
against all enemies,
against all enemies,
foreign and domestic,
foreign and domestic,
that I will bear true faith
that I will bear true faith
and allegiance to the same,
and allegiance to the same,
that I may take this obligation freely
and that I will take this obligation freely
without any mental reservation
without any mental reservation
or purpose of evasion,
or purpose of evasion,
and that I well and faithfully
and that I well and faithfully
discharge the duties of the office
discharge the duties of my office
on which I am about to enter.
on which I am about to enter.
So help me God.
So help me God.
Congratulations.
Under Sections 531 and 3064, Title 10, United States Code, Justin Francis is appointed to the grade of First Lieutenant in the United States Army. First Lieutenant Francis, please render your first salute as a commissioned officer.
Staff Sergeant Christopher Francis, pose.
Officer Candidate Simonson, please come forward. O.C. Simonson will be pinned by his wife Heidi and kids Liam, Eva, and Hans. The commissioning oath will be administered by Captain Matthew Chandler.
Raise your right hand and speak after me. I state your name.
I, Hayden Scott Simonson,
Do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
to support and defend
support and defend
the Constitution of the United States
the Constitution of the United States
against all enemies,
against all enemies,
foreign and domestic,
foreign and domestic,
that I will bear true faith
that I will bear true faith
and allegiance to the
and
same.
allegiance to the same.
I take this obligation freely
I take this obligation freely
without any mental reservation
without any mental reservation
or purpose of evasion,
or purpose of evasion,
that I will,
that I will,
well and faithfully,
well and faithfully,
discharge the duties
discharge the duties
of the office
of the office
in which I am about to enter.
in which I am about to enter.
So help me God.
So help me God.
Under Sections 531 and 3064, Title 10, United States Code, Hayden Simonson is appointed to the grade of First Lieutenant in the United States Army. First Lieutenant Simonson, please render your first salute as a commissioned officer.
Staff Sergeant
Matthew Sloan, pose.
Congratulations to the Army's newest first lieutenants. IPAP Class 21-1 would like to honor those who have provided key support to their success in Phase 2. First, the graduates would like to give special thanks to Major Jonathan Haller for being their keynote speaker today. The graduates would also like to recognize Major Robert Diem, IPAP Phase 2 Program Director, for his support and dedication to coordinating a superior clinical experience and educational opportunities during their year at Womack Army Medical Center. Next, the graduates would like to recognize Major Jonathan Haller, Orthopedics Rotation Preceptor, Womack Army Medical Center, as Preceptor of the Cycle for his exceptional teaching and support to the Interservice Physician Assistant Program from May 2022 through June 2023. And lastly, the graduates would like to recognize the Behavioral Health Department for their support to the Interservice Physician Assistant Program as the rotation of the cycle. TDY travel delays kept Major Kenneth Dunham from being here to accept the award. Ladies and gentlemen, please rise for the playing of the Army song. The true who have fought to victory. We're the Army and proud of our name. We're the Army and proudly proclaim. First to fight for the right and to build the nation's might. And the Army goes rolling along. Proud of all we have done, fighting till the battle's won. And the Army goes rolling along. Hi, hey, the Army's on its way. Count off the cadence loud and strong. For wherever we go, you will always know that the Army goes rolling along. Ladies and gentlemen, this concludes today's ceremony. On behalf of Class 21-1, we would like to thank you for your attendance and continued support of the Interservice Physician Assistant Program. Please join me in a round of applause for our graduates.